So as we said, there's data from 24 markets. So we're really viewing the industry from a wide angle lens. So the paper covers loyalty appeal and impact from 2024, but also membership from 2023. And more crucially, it analyzes each of the metrics on a market by market basis. So where are the outliers? Who's sitting on the fence? Where are the growth opportunities? But also who's in decline? Great. So let's start to take a look at the 8 key takeouts from this white paper. So to set the scene, let's start with the 2023 membership data. So the majority of adults in the majority of markets are members of a loyalty program. So 61% as an average, and you can see some of the market breakouts on the left-hand side. What we anticipate, based on the British white paper that we've written, and having spoke to our local kind of market experts, that membership is continuing to grow across Europe. So the second key takeout looks at the overarching appeal of loyalty throughout Europe. So more than half of the European population think programs are a great way to reward customers. 42% think that every brand should offer a loyalty program, and 35% join loyalty programs each time they're given the opportunity. So none of these metrics actually changed significantly from last year's data set. But there are some really interesting market nuances once we kind of delved into the data. So if we take somewhere like Norway, they've seen double-digit growth across all 3 of these metrics. And they ranked really high last year. So the growth they've had over the last 12 months is even more impressive. So whilst no market has seen consistent decline across all 3, there were some markets like Bulgaria, Belgium, and Turkey. They saw modest decline in at least 2, which reflects a huge opportunity, right, for a really impactful program in those markets to kind of capture hearts and minds in those countries.
When we then dig into those individual kind of data points that then make up those overall key metrics, that's when we can start to see the variation by market. And I think that's one of the most interesting things, when we're dealing with global programs and global clients, people tend to lump Europe together. And actually, I think what our research has shown is that you really can't lump 24 markets together. So for example, if we look at the answer, do you think loyalty programs are a great way to reward customers? Gets a bit Eurovision-esque. Great Britain is at the top, which is brilliant, really nice to actually win something. So 74% of Brits think that loyalty programs are a great way to reward customers. It's a really high success market, lots and lots of loyalty fans, and then, a great market to kind of launch programs in. Followed by then the Polish, the Irish, the Germans, the Slovakians, the Spanish, the Bulgarians, the French, the Croatians, and the Italians. And I think what we see here is a really positive picture across some of the biggest markets in Europe. We then look at every brand should offer a loyalty program, which is a really interesting indicator of saturation. And when I first wrote these questions back then, I thought saturation was going to be a really significant issue, particularly in markets like Great Britain, where, if you think about what's happened in the last 2 to 3 years, we've had so many big programs launch. It's quite hard now to find brands that don't have a loyalty program. Aldi is pretty much the only grocer that doesn't, offer a program, whereas 3 years ago, that picture looked very different. But actually, saturation is not a major issue in any market, particularly in Europe. So we see that 56% of the Irish population think that every brand should have a loyalty program, to 55% in Bulgaria, 54% in Great Britain, France, and Romania, 51% in Croatia, and Poland at 50%. So all those markets are at kind of half the population, half the adult population going, yep, every single brand should have a loyalty program. I mean, that's hugely, hugely high, and much higher than I ever thought when I first kind of started putting this together.
Yeah, so I hope you'll all agree. So the insights that we've covered today and the European white paper, they provide us with a really comprehensive pan-European view of the loyalty market. So some of the key takeouts. So us Brits, the Irish, the Polish love loyalty and are really leading the way in Europe. So if you're operating in those markets and don't currently have a program, now is definitely the time to invest. But to summarize in all, so loyalty programs really matter to us consumers throughout the continent. They engage really big audiences and continue to win the hearts, the minds, and importantly, the wallets.